Welcome, everyone, to the special edition of Vault Hours. This is our Halloween edition. Danny, I completely agree, right? We should just skip Vault Hours and have a Halloween musical festival instead. We should probably cover some security topics, but who doesn't love some Halloween music? Ryan had a whole playlist prepared. We only got to two, unfortunately, but still super fun to listen to. Well, welcome everyone. My name's Casey, and I'll be one of your hosts for today. I am also Wyona Ryder from Beetlejuice today, hence the wig. We have a fun agenda ahead of us today. Starting off with some scary security stories that we source directly from the community. So you might recognize some of these stories. These might even be your own stories. So we'll go through some of those, get a little scared from that, and then jump on into something a little bit more reassuring, right? Our Bitwarden extension design preview, right? A new design for the Bitwarden extension directly from our product team. And then some updates around passkeys in the industry, some innovations there. Some results from our Bitwarden Security Impact Report. This was also sourced from our community. We love our community. They give us such interesting information and such cool stories. And then lastly, we have some updates from Bitwarden. With that, as a reminder, you're always free to join us on screen or even just via audio, right? So if you have a live question or a comment, feel free to just put it in the chat and we will promote you up to screen so you can ask it verbally. We would love to have you join us up here. Great. Is there any initial questions that we could answer before we dive into some of the information that we've prepared?
Yes, and if you have any questions at all,
Great. I'm
feel
not
free to
seeing
put them in
anything, so
chat.
let's just...
Yep, or in the Q&A section. There's a Q&A section over there too. So if you have any questions at all, just drop them there. We'll answer them as we go along. No need to wait for us to get to a specific subject. We'll just take answers Q&A live.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. Beautiful. Let's jump into that first topic, right? Some scary security stories from the community. So, what was it? A couple weeks ago now, we posted this message in our Reddit and our Bitwarden subreddit and on Twitter. So, what is the scariest security practice or breach that you might have seen? First being from the Twitter community, right? We have Dawn saying that they were required at their job to set an 8-character password on a Gmail account because the admin would like to crack it in case that user leaves. That is not a very secure practice. Something similar, right? Steve says that their bank requires you to have an 8-character password and you can't make it longer than that. It sounds like it might be time to change banks. That's very scary. And then also, Haha Harbor says that they've seen people save their ID and password in Telegram. We all know that that's probably not the most secure place to store your password, right? Storing it somewhere end-to-end encrypted like Bitwarden is a much safer solution. And then we got a lot more responses on Reddit, right? We have a very active Reddit community. If you aren't already a part of our Reddit community, highly recommend going to check it out. One of the first ones I saw was that this user actually works in healthcare and they've seen a lot of sticky notes passwords and ransomware attacks. They hear it all the time from different clinics and hospitals and it's becoming really concerning. I completely agree. If you look in the news, right, there's so many different cybersecurity problems and attacks in the hospital and healthcare industry. Very scary. This next user says that they used to reuse the same passwords for everything. That scares the poop out of me nowadays. I think we've all been there, right? It scares me as well, right? Thankfully, onboarding onto Bitwarden, you can easily check your reused passwords with our Vault Health report. And then this other user says that their girlfriend's job, their computer was still running Windows 7 until last year. Very scary. Cool. Some others. This one, the top one, was one of my favorites. Favorites in terms of scariness, right? They worked in a minimum security prison, and the food service manager would keep a post-it note with the gate code on her monitor, visible to everyone. It wouldn't get you through the airlock, but still, that's a very terrifying thing to think about. Yeah, definitely a very scary security practice. And then Trail Runs mentions that their library requires the last four digits of their phone number as the password and no option to change. I know my local libraries require this as well, and that is very terrifying. I love the local library, but geez, that's a really bad security practice. And then lastly, this one's a long one, so bear with me. This user tells a story about a particular company that they outsourced for IT services. And over time, as the admin were just in case or administrative issues. And when they left that job and started a new job, they found that their new job also uses that same outsourced IT services. And when they were given their login, it was with the same default password. So later on, there's a problem that needed to be resolved, right? And they typed in the previous employer's admin password, and it worked. Right. So they were using the same admin password across all of their different clients for this IT service. They say that the IT manager was not impressed, and we don't use that contractor anymore. That is very scary, especially for company security. I thought was one of my favorites, but feel free to put some of your scary stories in the chat as well. I hope that, got you excited for Halloween in a way of listening to something really terrifying, right? Is poor security practices. And with that, we can go into something a little bit more reassuring, right? Which is Bitwarden updates. And I would love to hand it off to Danielle to show a little bit more about some updates we're making to the Bitwarden extension.
Yeah, thank you, Casey. Yeah, I'm Danielle. I'm one of the senior product designers here at Bitwarden. And for the last couple months, I've been working with the product design team on an extension UI refresh. And I'm here today to talk about the preview that we have available for folks to check out. So just some background, we have been working on this project to address growing complexity with the current UI. We want to improve the navigation and streamline a lot of the workflows. And then finally, we want to modernize the interface to reflect more of the Bitwarden brand. So the update, here's a sneak peek at what we'll be demoing here in a minute, has a refreshed look and feel. You can see we've added more color and iconography where appropriate to just enhance the kind of user delight. And we've reworked the navigation and information architecture to be a little more straightforward and streamlined for the users. And we've also enhanced the search capabilities. So we've added additional filtering so you can really drill down and find the items that you're looking for. I will go ahead and share the live preview now. Just bear with me while I find the button.
Maybe while you find that button, Danielle, do you want to talk to a little bit about what you're dressed as for this Halloween edition?
Sure. So I am, whoops, let's see. Can you all see a green Chrome view, Casey?
Yeah.
Cool. I had to minimize the crowdcast. I am a Peaky Blinder. I've been watching that Netflix series right now. So that is what the hat is all about. But let's see. So here I have installed the beta preview. I think we'll be sharing some links directly to that preview in the chat later if you all want to go and install it yourself. But we've redesigned the main vault screen. The biggest change is combining the tab and vault view. So this autofill suggestions list now kind of replaces the current tab functionality. And then we've added these filters here at the top so you can apply multiple filters here to kind of drill down into what you want to find. And you can still autofill easily from the pop-up or the inline autofill menu. When creating a new item, we've pulled out that first step of what item you would like to create into this new menu. And we've also added the ability to create folders right from this vault screen to organize your items. Once you get into the new login form, we've grouped the related information together, so it's really easy to go through and scan. And this form is consistent at the top and bottom across different item types. So you always kind of know what to expect there. And then just really quickly, I'm going to tab through these other screens because I don't want to take up too much of the time today. But we've updated the generator, pulling up all the different types of content you can generate into this nice navigation element here at the top. And that gives us a little bit more room to display the options here without really needing to scroll. And the only thing here at the bottom is the history view. For the one of the other big things that we did is we enhanced the empty states in the extension. So we've added additional text and content around what some of these features are for brand new users. So this one here introduces what send is and how a user might be able to use that. And then in settings, we've also applied a lot of those same visual treatments to group related settings and content in these nice sections to make it easy to scan and find what you're looking for. That'll be all for the demo. So I'll stop sharing and get back to the right screen here. Here we go.
Give me one moment.
All right.
There we go.
So as I said earlier, you can see this for yourself. I think Kevin went ahead and shared the links in the chat there for the beta preview. Please post your feedback to the Bitwarden community forum. If someone has that link available for the chat, that would be great to post as well. We have a link to a survey in that post, as well as an ongoing thread of different feedback that we've already gotten and other different bugs that have been reported in that. If you do install the beta, just a quick tip, make sure you disable autofill in one of the extensions, whether that's the beta or the production version that you use today. Just otherwise, there might be some funky user experience and behavior with autofill. All right, so here's some of the quotes that we've already got from users who have installed the beta. A lot of them are saying that the new design feels more intuitive and it's way smoother than the old UI. That said, we have gotten some more critical feedback. Go ahead, next slide is fine. And we're already seeking to address this with some improvements. So we're already looking to update that autofill label to just fill. This makes the localization and translation of that word a little bit better for all of our users. And then we wanted to add back in the option to launch items directly from the kind of list item view, I guess. So in this screenshot on the right, you can see the Amazon item has a launch icon next to the copy button. And that was really, we heard quite a bit of users relying on that feature. We'd previously moved that into the more menu, but we're pulling that back out based on those user feedback. We also caught a couple unintended functionality changes, which was making sure we autofill or autofocus search when you first open the extension. So we're already seeking to address that. And then after searching, making sure that search results are sorted by best match. Two other items we are actively exploring based on the feedback we've already received is iterating on a compact mode. So you can see here, there's not any spacing between each of the items that appear on the vault screen. So just tightening up that spacing for more technical or advanced users that want to just see more items on the vault screen. So we're working on that, as well as the ability to toggle that kind of top areas filters. So this would be toggled on by default when you first install the extension, and then we would look at trying to remember whether the user toggled it on or off previously when you come back to this screen. So that'll keep the filters discoverable for new users, but still allow more kind of power users to hide them if they prefer a more or a longer vault list in this view. But yeah, I think that's all I had.
Yeah, that was.
So that's all I had. But if you want to check out that the preview, we would really appreciate any feedback you have, and we're really excited to continue iterating on this. I think I'm going to.
And if anyone in the I was just going to say, if anyone in the audience has any more questions for Danielle as well, feel free to put them in the questions pane or in the chat. We'll have her online for a little bit. So this is a really great chance to have a direct communication with our product team. But thank you, Danielle. And I believe we'll be handing it off to Nasser. I don't know why I said your name like that. Nasser, would you like to take it away with some Passkey innovation?
Sure. Thanks, Casey. Nasser here, product marketing manager. Just a disclaimer, I've been having some internet issues. It goes between 200, 300 megabits per second and 5 megabits per second. So I don't know what's going on, but I'll give this a shot. So there have been some really cool announcements from the FIDO Authenticate. And for those who don't know, the FIDO Alliance is this industry consortium formed about over a decade ago with the goal of creating an open, scalable standards for secure authentication. So FIDO Authenticate is this yearly conference that is held by the FIDO group, and the only one of its type dedicated to all aspects of authentication, including a focus on FIDO-based sign-ins, primarily with passkeys. So Bitwarden is a key member of the FIDO Alliance, and as part of a key working group that includes the likes of Google and Microsoft, it has helped put together a standard for passkey portability across services and platforms. So this standard is what we're being referred to as the Credential Exchange Protocol, CXP. And it defines these things such as data structures and the formats of how credential data is stored across various systems. And why does this matter to you as the end user, right? So think about the difficulty of porting passkeys across platforms today. It is prohibitively difficult for users to move between operating systems and vendors and types of devices, or moving your credentials like passkeys and passwords easily from one vendor to another very securely. So with Credential Exchange Protocol, you'll be able to move your passkey seamlessly across different devices and platforms. So this means you can set up, for example, a passkey on one device and easily access it in another without complex sync processes. So whether you're switching from iOS, for example, to Android or using multiple devices, this portability ensures that your passkeys remain accessible and usable, giving you ultimately the user the flexibility in how you interact with secure systems. So again, this freedom significantly enhances the user experience by eliminating device-specific limitations. And then additionally, you are also ensured with the secure transfer of secrets. So again, the core goal of Credential Exchange Protocol is to ensure that the transfer of passkeys and other sensitive data is really performed securely from vendor to vendor, from credential management system to credential management system. So any vulnerabilities can arise today, especially if the process and data structures and formats are not standardized. This standardization should eliminate that. And it really provides robust encryption and secure methods for moving these credential and secrets across environments. Ultimately, you get safeguarded, your personal information is safeguarded and protected during these transitions. And then ultimately, you as the user have the open choice of vendor or credential service, right? So it's always good to have that choice and be empowered with that choice. One of the biggest concerns with passkeys and other similar technologies is the potential for getting locked into an ecosystem. So with this new standard, the risk is reduced as there is a universal method for securely transferring passkeys and other sensitive data between platforms. So you as the user have the flexibility, as I had mentioned earlier, to choose your choice of provider without really ultimately getting confined. And then furthermore, in the background, there's this standardized exchange process, right? So Credential Exchange Protocol introduces standardized processes for the exchange of credentials between systems. And this eliminates inconsistencies in how different systems handle passkey and sensitive data. So it's ultimately easier for developers to implement secure transfers and for you as the end user to interact with these systems. Again, the bottom line risk of errors or security issues should be reduced, and ultimately there will be a safer experience for you. And then finally, this is important. This standard will be adaptable for future technologies. Although it was initially designed for passkeys, it's really versatile and can be adapted for other types of sensitive data, such as mobile driver's licenses, passports, passwords, so that the standard should remain relevant as new technologies emerge and the digital ecosystem evolves. Ultimately, again, in conclusion, the standard has been drafted and been agreed upon, and you will rapidly see an implementation coming up pretty soon. Next slide, please, Casey. So again, more from this year's FIDO Authenticate. Microsoft made a very interesting key announcement, and they made a bunch of them, like improving their overall Passkey user interface. Another one that was key was new support for third-party Passkey providers on Windows 11. So now platforms like, for example, Bitwarden can seamlessly integrate with Windows 11. In fact, the main demo they showed at the conference was showing how Bitwarden integrated with Windows 11. So as a user, you should be able to use the same passkey you created on your mobile device to log into Windows 11, so making cross-device compatibility easier than ever. Again, this is a tremendous initiative by Microsoft and partners like Bitwarden, and it really shows the commitment they have to passkey authentication at Microsoft and at other large platform players. So keep an eye out for key developments over the next few months, and you should be able to see this, right? If you're a Windows user, you should be able to see this in the next coming quarter or so. So back to you, Casey. I don't know if there's any questions.
Doesn't look like there's any questions, but Ryan made a really great point in the chat that the ability to the credential exchange protocol essentially allows everyone to transfer their passkeys to Bitwarden now. So that was a really great point, that you can start securely storing them in Bitwarden as soon as you'd like.
100%.
Great, thanks, Casey.
Oh, not now, but as soon as we implement. Thank you for the clarification, Ryan. Yeah, go on, Vivian.
Yeah, you can move to the next slide. So we know that Bitwarden helps people with their overall security. We protect and manage passwords, secrets, passkeys, and the like. What we've never done really is quantify that. So earlier this year, we decided to try and put some data points around really just how Bitwarden has helped customers. And so we asked about 116 customers and end users. So these include business customers, IT admins and owners, as well as their end users, just exactly how Bitwarden has impacted their overall security. The result of this is our inaugural Bitwarden Impact Security Report, and I'll share the full report with the team later in the chat. And here's what we learned. So we learned that 96%, almost 100% of all respondents say that Bitwarden has improved their overall security posture within their companies and for themselves. 88% of admins that are using Bitwarden within their companies are rolling out regular password security training. And so this tells us that Bitwarden does have an impact on not just the technical aspect of protecting yourself and your companies, but also building a stronger security culture and awareness. And this last one, we're going to dig into that later in the next slide, but 81% of customers have reduced the number of reused passwords since using Bitwarden. And this is one of my favorite stats. And next slide, Casey. So this one looks a little bit more closely at what that means. So we found that Bitwarden ultimately eliminates at-risk passwords. These are passwords that have been reused. These are weak passwords. These are passwords that could have been involved in a data breach, et cetera. So we found that 45% of customers have eliminated more than 15 reused passwords. 16% have eliminated more than 45 reused passwords. I think that's just such a really significant number if you consider the risk and the security risk that these passwords pose on your security. And 11% of IT admins have eliminated more than 12 compromised passwords. And so a lot of this information was uncovered through the use of the Bitwarden Vault Health reports. I don't feel like we talk enough about the Vault Health reports, but they are such a great feature, such a great service that Bitwarden provides across their different business and personal plans. They leverage dark web monitoring as well as data breach monitoring and other services to keep all of you guys secure. Vault Health reports, if you're an individual user, personal user, here with us today, they're included in all of our plans. The free plan includes just the data breach reports. Paid plans provide a little bit more. So like I said, exposed, compromised, reused, weak passwords, passwords that have been involved in a data breach, and the like. So next slide, Casey. So ultimately, with Bitwarden, we found that customers told us that they have been able to improve their security culture, they've been able to reduce reused passwords, and they've been able to take control of their security. So I will be sharing the full report with you here in the chat, and hopefully if you see this survey come across your way, I hope you take a minute to answer and provide some information for us. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Vivian. Now I just have a couple of quick updates from the Bitwarden team. Let's just go ahead and get to the next slide. All right, so the Open Source Security Summit, this took place last month. We actually had a quick recap here at the last Vault Hours meeting, but we now have the replay available online. You can just go to the bitwarden.com/open source security summit with hyphens for the spaces, or just do a search on bitwarden.com and you'll find the page. And it has everything listed in all nice snackable videos to hear from all the great industry experts and the panels, and really good conversations there. Thanks, Nasser, for posting that in the channel. All right, native mobile apps update. This is something we talked about last month, and I'm excited to say that we're still making progress on it. iOS is already available. It's out in the store. There's actually been a couple updates since then, so really cool to have that out there and getting customer feedback on it. And Android is on the way. We were looking at having a submission very, very soon, so possibly most likely very early next week, but things can always pop up, and that will also require App Store approval and such, Google Play Store approval. All right, next slide. And this is something that was new that came out earlier this month, is the Member Access Report. This is a new Vault Health report available to admins and owners in the admin console. And what it is it really just gives you a wonderful view of who has access to how many different collections and or items. So you can just quickly take a look at your organization and see if somebody, for some reason, has access to 90 collections, who is just a normal everyday user who probably doesn't need that access. Just a really good way to get a 10,000-foot view of things. And if you do need to dive into it, you can export a CSV. Will give you very much finer grained details that will explicitly lay out what that person has access to. That's in the view, and that's very handy. For example, if you need to doing some succession or offboarding and you need to do some password rotation, you can see what passwords that person had access to and just have a nice list there. That's it from me. Pass it back over to you.
Beautiful.
Casey.
Thanks, Ryan. Great, thanks. Yeah, we typically during Vault Hours, we like to highlight some of the newest, Bitwarden in the news. So the first article I'd love to highlight is this article from PC World saying why I pay for Bitwarden even though the free version rocks. We think the free version rocks, so it's really cool to see that other people think it rocks too, but still decide to pay for the premium version. And Newman, the author of this article, mentioned a couple different key drivers to wanting to switch to a premium version. And the first being the integrated TOTP options, right? So being able to save your TOTP codes directly to a Bitwarden vault item and then share that with your family members, with, organizational employees. Sounds like they are using a premium version, so probably a partner or different people in their life that needs access to the same accounts. They also mentioned really loving emergency access, Bitwarden Send, Vault Health Reports, which Ryan just mentioned, and the ability to upload files to different Vault as well. Next, PC Mag highlighted the credential exchange protocol that Nasser mentioned earlier, right? So this is a industry effort to essentially securely move passkeys across different providers. And we just revealed draft specifications for this. And it's just a very exciting new development in terms of passwordless innovations. And then next, we recently launched a Microsoft Sentinel integration. So this integration essentially enables organizations to track their activities through a centralized security dashboard, right? So this is a SIEM integration, a security information and event management integration. And this will monitor different authentication events, password changes, different events related to vault items, and organizational level actions, right? So it's essentially pulling all that information that you typically see in event logs and putting it in a centralized security dashboard for all the other solutions that they're using within their organization. And so Vault HelpNet Security highlighted this, as well as the original press release on Business Wire. And then lastly, I wanted to highlight an article from Tech Republic. So they wrote an article about the 7 best practices for creating a secure password in 2024. And the 7th step of this, right, the 7 best practice was to use a password manager like Bitwarden to store those secure passwords and possibly use a password generator as well, like the one that is built into Bitwarden. Some of the other best practices that they recommended, which I think everyone on this Vault Hour session is well versed in, but always a good reminder, is to not reuse old passwords, right? Like the scary security story we heard earlier. You want to use a password that's at least 12 to 16 characters long. That's a combination of different numbers, letters, and symbols. You don't want to include any personally identifiable information in these passwords either, right? I've heard of people using their hometown or their pet's name in their passwords, and those are unfortunately very, very easy to guess. You could also consider using a passphrase. So if you are constantly having to manually type the password in as opposed to autofilling, a passphrase is going to be much easier to type in and remember. And then also remembering to never share your passwords with anyone. So really great reminder of some of the best practices for using secure passwords in 2024. And we love getting that little call out that Bitwarden is a really great way to enable you to do this. That is it for Bitwarden in the news, but we also have some blog articles that I believe Nasser is going to share with us.
Thanks, Casey. We had a lot of cool blogs in the month of October. Some were informative, some were educational. We start with the highlights of the Open Source Security Summit that took place on the 26th of September. So I think I posted a link earlier where you can check the event replays. One of the key themes was collaborative innovation. So speakers touched on how open source fosters collective security efforts, with developers and communities really co-creating security solutions to address evolving threats. Another one was automation's role in vulnerability vulnerability management and compliance was a major point. So highlighting tools that help streamline security processes. They also touched on securing the software supply chain. The software supply chain has become really a key theme recently as open source ecosystems continue to grow. So the discussion revolved around securing dependencies, ensuring code integrity, and really reducing risk across the supply chain. There was also the talk about AI and its role in security or making things more complex. So there are some really interesting discussions you should go and check out. In terms of diversity and inclusion, some speakers emphasized the need for more diverse and inclusive participation in the open source security community, noting how varied perspectives lead to stronger security solutions. And then data encryption and privacy, right? The summit also touched on enhancing data privacy practices through advanced encryption techniques and privacy enhancing technologies to safeguard your sensitive information. The last one that I found really interesting, and there's a lot of other themes, but developer-friendly tools. The growing need for security tools designed with developer usability in mind, and that ensures that security is integrated seamlessly into core development workflows. So if you were not able to attend, please check out the link that was shared earlier. There's some great recordings there. Next, Casey. So continuing with the Open Source Security Summit, we had Thomas Maldonado, the CISO of the National Football League, the NFL, and Jeff Green, Executive Assistant Director of the Cybersecurity Infrastructure, the CISA, Cybersecurity Division. He joined our Bitwarden CEO, Michael Crandell, for a fireside chat discussing the evolving cyber threat landscape. So they explored the importance of collaboration between public and private sectors, securing open source ecosystems, and the role of cybersecurity education in preventing breaches. They also discussed how empowering individuals within your organization with the knowledge and utilizing community-driven security innovations are really vital to strengthening organizational defenses. So the next blog talks about protecting against password spraying attacks. Referencing findings from Microsoft and other cybersecurity reports, we found out that organizations with weak password policies and those that allow password reuse are particularly vulnerable. So some warning signs might include unusual login attempts, multiple times your account gets locked out, and increased help desk requests for password resets. So to mitigate these threats, organizations should implement multi-factor authentication, enforce strong password policies, and really conduct regular security training, and ultimately monitor for suspicious login activity. And we touched on Microsoft Sentinel and other SIEM tools for monitoring. Those are really critical in the enterprise. So a proactive security approach is really ultimately crucial for protecting sensitive data from potential breaches. So the next blog touches on how to create custom fields in the Bitwarden vault for various item types, enhancing the ability to store specific information securely. It explains 4 types of custom fields. These are text, Boolean, hidden, and linked fields. And really provides a step-by-step guide on how to add them to your vault items. So ultimately, the post really emphasizes the benefits of using these custom fields for sensitive data and autofill functionalities. So the next blog is titled How to Use Login with Device across Each Device. And it explains how Bitwarden users can utilize passwordless authentication to log in on a new device. So instead of entering a master password, users can approve login requests through a trusted device, and this enhances convenience and security. So the process involves initiating a login on one device and confirming it within another device within 15 minutes. So the article details like the technical workings of the feature, and it emphasizes its user-friendly approach to accessing your vault. And then finally, next slide, please, Casey. Building a strong security stack, and this blog discusses the essential components for establishing an effective cybersecurity framework at work. So it highlights key areas such as perimeter security, endpoint protection, information security, things like authentication, network security, backup and recovery. And the article also features insights from a survey of the Bitwarden community, sharing their preferred security applications. So it emphasizes the importance, again, of continuous assessment and enhancement of your online security. And it also touches a little bit on doing this during Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which is also pretty cool and important. So what you can do is, I'm going to post a link here. If you want to share the privacy and security tools that you use on Twitter, that would be great. Great to share that with our community. Thanks, Casey. That's it from my end.
All right. Thanks, Nasser. So my name is Adam Eckerly. I'm manager of technical marketing here at Bitwarden. I'm going to take you through the next few sections. You can go ahead and advance the slide, Casey. So if you find yourself in a spooky situation, this is just a reminder that Bitwarden has a really great help section, product documentation, guides, really everything you need to know to, whether you're a first-time browser extension user or you're going down the rabbit hole and self-hosting. There's all kinds of information out there to help you get going and to troubleshoot. Just to call back to a couple of things that Vivian and Ryan pointed out, we do have a lot of nice reporting in product. One of those new reports is the member access report. So you can see on the screen, we've got this link to that member access report, everything you can do with it, how to use it effectively, and all that fun stuff. Also, a common question we get is, how do we leverage our built-in password generator to encrypt the export with a password? So if you're trying to back up or keep a backup of your vault somewhere safe, how do you encrypt it? What are the best practices for encrypting it? What kind of password should you generate? There's a nice little help article out there about that. And then something that I think is useful to, a vast majority of people are the release notes. As you heard from Danielle, there's work being done on a constant basis to update, to listen to feedback, incorporate that feedback. We're releasing new versions every couple of weeks, depending if you're on the extension or the desktop apps or the web apps. So keeping up with the release notes, seeing what's changing is a good way to know what new features are coming or have been released recently and how to take advantage of those. So I definitely encourage everyone to sign up for those release note announcements. And kind of keeping with a similar theme of getting help, we also have the Learning Center. You can go ahead, Casey. So the Learning Center is all about kind of digesting and taking the information that might be out in the documentation or the blog or other places and kind of distilling it down into, I've learned about this new feature. What do I actually do with it? And so you'll find lots of videos and things of that nature out on the Learning Center. We've got a couple things that we're going to highlight here, how to use custom fields. So if you're using autofill and you're just like, man, I've got this username and password, but I also have these other things that I want to autofill, you can add custom fields for that. You can also have notes and other things within your login items. So check out that video on how to use custom fields. And then if you're a managed service provider, or maybe you're somebody who thinks like, oh, I love Bitwarden so much, I want to go out and I want to tell people about it. So when kids knock on my door, I'm going to tell their parents about Bitwarden. And they're going to need some help to get it set up. So you can actually start a business and manage that stuff for them. But anyway, you can look at the managed service provider demo and see all about our provider portal. see how to manage Bitwarden instances for your clients. And next, you've seen a couple of links in the chat about the community so far, talking about providing feedback for the extension refresh. I'll have to tell you, I'm newer to Bitwarden, and the Bitwarden community, just in the few weeks I've been around, it is amazing. So for those of you that participate in the community, I definitely thank you. It's such a vibrant place to get advice, to share ideas, to troubleshoot issues. So if you're not part of the Bitwarden community forums, I definitely encourage you to click that top link and go out and sign up. Our subreddit is super active as well. And if you're looking for, or you're out on other social media platforms, we definitely have all of them covered, including Mastodon. So go find us out on the Fossadon server instance out there, and you can follow the Bitwarden happenings. And speaking of community and getting involved, we definitely like to see people out on our GitHub, whether it's looking at and reviewing the code and just, building community confidence because we're open source and that code is available out there. Letting others know that, yeah, we can trust Bitwarden. I see what they're doing. I see what's going on. Even doing pull requests, seeing that hey, I need or I see I have an idea for a feature. So get involved down in GitHub. We have quite a decent sized catalog of languages that our product has been translated into, and even the website and the documentation and things. You can go out to bitwarden.com/translations and kind of see how to get various pieces of content in the language of your choice. But we're also always looking to expand that. We want to meet our users where they are, and we use a platform called Crowdin to help crowdsource that a little bit, so you can get involved that way. And we've talked about the community forum, and then events, bitwarden.com/events, which might be how you found Vault Hours. So you can check that out. Go ahead. And really one of the best ways to get involved is to just come work with us. That's what I did. That's what, I work with some really amazing people, and it would be awesome for more folks from the community to come join us. You can see on our careers site various different roles that are available, and I love seeing new faces. So let's keep that train going. So we'd love to hear from you, or get a referral if you have a friend who might be interested. So check out the careers page. And finally, events. I kind of already plugged it, but you can see we've got a weekly Bitwarden Password Manager deep dive every Wednesday at 12 Eastern. That's usually a lot of fun. We get a lot of engagement, so come ask your questions. Cy and Shelby and I usually trading off and trying to do our best to get everybody's question answered as far as Password Manager goes. We've got our Secrets Manager demo every other Tuesday, and I mentioned the service provider program. We do that monthly. Next one's coming up November 14th. So check out the events page, bitwarden.com/events, and it has links to all these different demos and replays if you're interested, including making sure you get signed up for the next Vault Hours next month. All right, that's it for me.
Well, thank
Ryan,
you, Adam.
No problem.
Yeah, no, I'll hop in here. I definitely appreciate that. And yeah, please come join us next month for Vault Hours. We do this on a monthly basis. Would love to see your lovely, not faces, I guess, but lovely, usernames again in today's session. One more thing. Per usual, we have our Bitwarden store giveaway. So if you enter to this giveaway, you'll be entered to win some of these really cool swag at bitwarden.com/shop. I have about half the things on the screen, to be honest. Definitely love the dad hat. Can always advocate for that. And to enter into this giveaway, simply go to bitwarden.com/shop. scroll down to the bottom of the page and fill out that contact form and just say that you heard about the giveaway during Vault Hours 45. There is no repeat winners. I know that we have a lot of regular guests on Vault Hours, and so unfortunately you will not be entered to win if you have already won before. But please, fill it out if you're maybe a little new, and we would love some cool Bitwarden swag. Great. I think this brings us to the end of Vault Hours. Is there any questions or comments that we should address? Ryan, I see you have your camera on. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, but it's been great to have everybody here, chat with you month after month. As we will usually in a few weeks have this segmented out and posted up on YouTube for anyone who wants to share with some of their friends. And if you want to check it out, our past Vault Hours are also available here on Crowdcast platform and also on YouTube as well. So you should be able to see all the information that we post in all these talks, and keep me honest on things that I say are coming soon that didn't quite make it.
Yes, and thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you had as much fun as I did for this Halloween edition of Vault Hours.
Oh, we did have one last question here from Dominic about
Yeah.
a mobile UI refresh. We still have some of the design team who's here. It's definitely on our radar. We are still working on getting the native apps out the door right now, and then work will begin on that after the browser extension is out. Timelines probably aren't looking good for this year, but probably early next. If any of the design team would like to say anything about that in chat.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. Probably looking at next year, but it is a work in progress, and we're really excited to see the native stuff, but we know we want to up level it one more step. So thanks for being patient.
Beautiful. Well, feel free to ask some more questions in the chat. We'll be here to answer them as they come in. But Ryan, do you maybe want to take us out with some other Halloween music that you have
Yeah.
queued up?
Let's do it.